I punched my ex-husband's new girlfriend for hitting my daughter. My 7-year-old Emma has been going back and forth between me and her dad Ryan every other weekend for the past 3 years since our divorce. Ryan started dating this woman Tiffany about 6 months ago, and from day one, I got bad vibes from her. She was one of those fake sweet types who'd be all giggly and nice when Ryan was around, but the second he stepped away, her whole attitude would shift. Emma started coming home from their place acting different. She'd be quiet for hours, wouldn't want to talk about her weekend, and I caught her crying in her room a few times. When I asked what was wrong, she'd just say she was tired or her stomach hurt. Kids aren't great liars, so I knew something was up, but every time I tried to get details, she'd clam up. The first real red flag was when Emma came home with a bruise on her arm. When I asked her about it, she said she fell off her bike at Daddy's house. But here's the thing, Ryan doesn't even have a bike for her there. When I called him about it, he got all defensive and said kids get bruises all the time, that I was being paranoid. Tiffany was probably right there listening, so he wasn't going to admit anything anyway. Then Emma started having nightmares. She'd wake up crying about someone yelling at her, but she wouldn't say who. She became super clingy whenever I'd drop her off at Ryan's place, begging me not to leave her there. My heart was breaking watching my confident little girl turn into this scared, anxious kid. The breaking point came last Friday. I went to pick Emma up from Ryan's apartment like usual, but when I got there, Ryan wasn't home yet from work. Tiffany answered the door, and I could hear Emma crying somewhere inside. I asked what was wrong, and Tiffany rolled her eyes and said Emma was being dramatic because she wouldn't let her have ice cream before dinner. I pushed past her to find Emma, and that's when I saw my daughter sitting on the floor of the hallway, holding her cheek, tears streaming down her face. The left side of her face was bright red with clear handprint marks. Emma looked up at me with these huge, scared eyes and whispered, "She hit me, Mommy." I lost it. I turned around and Tiffany was standing there with her arms crossed, not even trying to deny it. She actually had the nerve to say she was being a brat and wouldn't listen. Someone had to discipline her. Like hitting my kid was just normal parenting. Before I could even think about it, my fist connected with her jaw. She stumbled backward into the wall, holding her face, screaming about how I was crazy and she was calling the cops. I told her to go ahead and call them because I was about to call them myself about her hitting my 7-year-old. I scooped up Emma and got out of there. She was still crying, clinging to me like her life depended on it. In the car, she finally opened up about everything. Tiffany had been mean to her for months, calling her names, making her eat dinner alone while they ate together, and threatening to tell her dad that Emma was lying if she said anything. This wasn't the first time she'd hit her either. Ryan showed up at my house 2 hours later, furious about me punching his girlfriend. I showed him the handprints still visible on Emma's face and told him exactly what his precious Tiffany had been doing to our daughter. His whole attitude changed when he saw the marks. He kept apologizing, saying he had no idea, that Tiffany told him Emma had been acting out but never mentioned hitting her. I told him Emma wasn't going back there until Tiffany was completely out of the picture. He tried to argue that they could work it out, that maybe Tiffany just needed to learn how to handle kids better. I shut that down real quick. There's no learning when it comes to hitting someone else's child. You either have basic human decency or you don't. The cops did show up eventually because Tiffany filed a report about me punching her. When they saw the handprints on Emma's face and heard her story, they arrested Tiffany for child abuse instead. She spent the night in jail and now has charges pending. Ryan finally kicked her out of his apartment, but the damage was done. Emma's been in therapy dealing with the trauma of being hit and threatened by someone who is supposed to be taking care of her.